ICE is taking over airports, and this is a game changer.
After the appalling lines and massive disruptions at major airports nationwide last weekend, I am again demanding that Democrats in Congress immediately end their disgraceful shutdown of the Department of Homeland Security and restore the full funding for airport security and the TSA. They are holding it up because they want to take care of illegal immigrants coming into our country. They want to take care of criminals that are in sanctuary cities, men in women's sports. But what they don't want to do is give us anything to do with citizenship for voting or voter ID.
And Trump says he's going to have ICE in the airports until the SAVE Act gets passed. And look at this. People are already getting deported at airports. Look at this.
Can someone call 911?
Call 911. Bro, it's an airport. The feds are here.
Can I see your badge? No, can I see your badge?
The fact that there are people in airports flying around illegally, likely with false identification, really just exposes this entire thing, doesn't it?
I don't know who you are. You could be someone kidnapping them.
As if they're going to show their badge, and then people who are pro-illegal immigration are suddenly going to be Trump supporters?
Will we see arrests, illegal migrant arrests at airports, sir?
We already are.
Will we see ICE arresting illegal migrants at airports?
That's why the Democrats are going crazy, because they've allowed, by what they did and the holdup, we put ICE, who are a very high level. I mean, they really are a high-level group of people.
Yeah, they're not joking.
They love it because they're able to now arrest illegals as they come into the country.
And do security.
But that's not why they're there. They're really there to help.
And they're going to help, and that's the thing that has the party of shutdowns and political violence very upset.
And want to turn here to the Trump administration, which will roll out a new plan today.
It's already happening.
To alleviate the travel chaos we've been telling you about at airports all across the country. President Trump says he plans to deploy ICE agents, ICE officers to help out the TSA during the busy
they're helping the TSA.
Season.
Let's get more from Brianna Nesbral, who is at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, checking on
no
conditions
sanctuary
there.
mobs at Fort Lauderdale, that's for sure.
Ladies, the idea is to use ICE agents to help supplement TSA workers who have been calling out or quitting because they're not getting paid. Now, we've seen long security lines here.
Did that guy just sneak in?
And lines extending way past the terminal, even at times wrapping around the building. That's not the case right now, as you can see, but travelers are aware and preparing for the worst.
Look at that. Florida's well managed.
Travel woes continue to spread across the country.
Yep.
We've seen it on TikTok, and I guess the rumors are true. A lot of people say it's not, but like here we are now. We came here early. And
just as an aside, I was supposed to go somewhere with my wife and our kids, and I saw the videos and I said, I'm not taking little kids through this, no way.
It's still gonna take us a while.
Travelers trapped in long lines at FLO Monday morning, stretching beyond the security checkpoint.
We planned for 3.5
hours. That's why we need ICE at the airports. How could you be against
They want you to be there at least 3 or 4 hours early. And so, here I am.
This comes as TSA officers continue working without pay amid the ongoing
terrible,
partial government shutdown, causing staffing shortages and long lines at airports nationwide. On Saturday, the president wrote on Truth Social that he would send ICE agents to airports if Democrats in Congress do not immediately fund airport security. He later wrote that ICE agents would, quote, help TSA agents with security, and that White House border czar Tom Homan would be in charge of the operation.
This has really been a trap for the people who want to open the border and shut down the government, because now they have the most hated, as far as they're concerned, law enforcement agency in America today, ICE, at airports where they don't want to see them, where illegal immigrants are going to get arrested. And they're telling us there are no illegal immigrants. They're telling us ID isn't something we should be concerned about. This is putting them on the spot and forcing them to either admit that their policies are terrible or allow immigration law to get enforced, which they think is terrible.
Certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit. Stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screening.
That's right.
And to reduce those lines.
He suggested the rollout of agents would start at large airports that have seen longer wait times, and that agents would cover security points but not provide help with baggage screenings. Some travelers tell us they're worried the move could create more tension amid an already stressful travel experience.
I don't think they're trained to handle airport security, and I don't think they belong in the airport trying to deal with these situations.
Okay, so if you have a problem with this, call your lawmakers, tell them to reopen the government. At the same time, the border czar, he said ICE agents can block an exit. And he's 100% right. The TSA doesn't just check your bag. They're there to secure the whole airport. And if people are calling out and they're not around, we need people on the screening machines, and having ICE do everything except the screening machines. I mean, this is like a no-brainer.
ICE agents are now here
But look at Newark,
airport. And earlier this
sanctuary
morning,
city.
passengers had to deal with a ground
Let's see
stop.
how they're dealing with
We have seen
it.
several ICE agents at Newark Liberty International
that.
Airport after President Donald Trump announced the deployment of the agents at airports nationwide.
Look, everyone's on the same
President
page.
says
Law enforcement
ICE agents
cooperating.
will help TSA agents who have been working without pay for
Helping
weeks
the
amid the
TSA.
partial government shutdown. Many TSA employees calling out sick. ICE will not
Why
work
is
at
no one
security
happy for the
checkpoints and
TSA?
screening. Instead, he
That they're getting
says
some
ICE
help.
will work on crowd control and monitor exits and
Crowd
entrances
control
at
and
airports.
entrances
right now,
and exits.
Airline passengers are dealing with some delays, on average 15 minutes. Homan revealing the ICE plan at airports over the weekend.
They do a lot of criminal investigation on smuggling at airports.
Great.
But, you know, there's got TSA agents covering exits.
Right.
You know, people that enter through the exits. You know, certainly a highly trained ICE law enforcement officer can cover an exit. Most people don't go through those exits.
They lock people up for a
enter
living.
the airport through the exits, and that stuff like that relieves that TSA officer to go to screen.
Right, it's a no-brainer.
And to reduce those lines.
But now the party of open borders has to answer to their sanctuary voters why ICE is everywhere and how they could just get rid of ICE and bring the TSA back if they would just agree to having people show ID during a federal election, which has really great polling, even according to CNN.
All this polling on the screen going back since 2018. You'll notice on all of it, it's all north of 75%.
Right.
76%, 76%, 76%, 81%, and then 83% in the last year of Americans
It's
agree
getting
with
more
Nicki
popular.
Minaj. They favor photo ID to be able to vote.
What about by party? What's the party breakdown?
Yeah, normally you might expect, hey, there'd be a big divide by party with Republicans really for it and Democrats really against it. But not really here. I mean, just take a look here. Favor photo ID to vote. You got
Look at this.
95%
Everyone
of
agrees.
Republicans, pretty much all of them. But even 71% of Democrats favor photo ID to vote. So again, Nicki Minaj posting that on X, and what you see is that the American people, actually, it's not really all that controversial. The American people are with Nicki Minaj, whether they are Republican or even if they are Democrat.
Right. So people want to see this. They don't think this is a bad thing, but some people, the voters for one political party, think ICE in the airports is a bad thing. You see what's going on here?
Well, just moments ago, President Trump posting this on Truth Social. I am a big proponent of ICE wearing masks as they search for and are forced to deal with hardened criminals, many of whom were let into our country by sleepy Joe Biden and his wonderful border czar, Kamala. She never even went to the border. Through their absolutely insane open border policy, I would greatly appreciate, however, no masks when helping our country out of the Democrat-caused mess at the airports, etc. Thank you, President JD.
So we'll see.
DJT, excuse me. Let's bring in Chad Wolf.
Because the argument for masks is that you got these radicals that are going to attack these agents and try to destroy their families. But if they're just at an airport doing regular security and people are going past them and there's no problem, is that really going to happen? Is this an attempt to make ICE agents less of a threat to people who've been brainwashed thinking that as U.S. citizens they have something to fear from the immigration police? I've spent a lot of time walking the streets of New York City, showing apartments, talking about crime, and letting people know what life is really like on the ground here right now. And one thing has become impossible to ignore. Everything is more expensive, everything feels more fragile, and the people in the middle are getting squeezed from every direction. Rents are up, utilities are up, groceries are up, and the same institutions that created this mess are out there buying homes and telling regular people just to adjust. Living in a city like New York teaches you pretty quickly that systems don't always work the way they're supposed to. And that's why I believe in owning something real, like physical gold and silver from American Hartford Gold. Not because it's flashy, but because it's tangible. Gold isn't tied to a landlord, a bank's balance sheet, or the next policy experiment. American Hartford Gold has an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of 5-star reviews. You can have gold or silver shipped straight to your door or stored securely in a tax-advantaged gold IRA if you're thinking long-term. On top of that, right now, if you call and mention my name, you could get $20,000 in free silver with your first purchase. Call 866-679-4550 or text cash to 65532. That's 866-679-4550 or text cash to 65532. Or you can just click the link in the description of this video. When you live in the real world instead of a spreadsheet, you learn fast. Betting everything on systems you don't control is incredibly risky, while owning something real just makes sense.
In there, I'll show you, first of all, just a couple of responses that Bill Maloogian got when asking some of his contacts.
Yeah, this will be
They said,
interesting.
love it, genius, we serve at the behest, lots of illegals at the airports. I would actually love that, and then also somebody not thrilled about it. At least it was putting forward a solution, because the traveling public and the TSA agents, they're the ones bearing the brunt of all this.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Well, I think that's
tough,
exactly
man.
right. What you see here is, I think President Trump is frustrated, like millions of Americans, particularly those who travel, who's got two choices,
People
which
that
is the
cancel
lines
their
just
flight.
continue to get longer as the Democrats continue to shut down DHS, or we find a solution and we look for other options here. And so having ICE or other elements of DHS surge into airports, it's really why the department was created, so that you could have a flexible workforce. And so as screeners continue to call out because they need to put food on the table, you surge in other assets there into those airports. And so you're likely going to see ICE do sort of crowd control, perhaps man exit lanes, do divestiture, the ticket document checker, sort of the first individual that...
You know what's interesting about this? The party that wants the border open doesn't want to pass laws, doesn't want to run the government. This political party, if Trump were to put any law enforcement agency, not just ICE, let's say they put the National Guard in there, anybody with a badge that has Trump standing behind that badge saying, hey, go in there, that was just going to make them angry and just going to make them freak out. And they walked into this trap, setting itself up for themselves, because their voters aren't the ones who want to see ICE. Their voters are the ones who have been told that ICE is out to get them. Not only is that not going to happen if they're in the country legally, but people are now going to start getting through lines faster.
You encounter there in the line, you're likely going to see ICE do a number of these things that free up TSA screeners to focus on those equipment checks.
This is going to get people on their planes
and those procedures
faster.
that you see once you get into that security lane.
So Hakeem Jeffries took it to a new level. He was on the air on Sunday
let's hear
on
this.
CNN. All right?
Let's
Listen
hear
to the
CNN
words that he
on
chose to
Sunday.
use coming off of Minneapolis 2 months ago.
The last thing that the American people need are for untrained ICE agents to be deployed at airports all across the country, potentially to brutalize or in some instances them.
This is such a lie, but it's all going to be exposed now because it's not happening. It's literally not happening. These politicians get on TV and they lie, and they have to, because for the last 11 years they've been saying that Trump's a dictator and Trump wants to militarize the country and take over the country and take away everyone's rights, and now ICE is at the airport, and that's exactly what he's done, only he hasn't. Only people are going to get on their flights sooner. I think that this is a strategic win for Trump on multiple levels, and it's going to do a lot towards rehabilitating ICE in the minds of people that listen to politicians like this and have never thought for themselves about this at all.
Already seen how ICE conducts itself. These are untrained individuals when it comes to doing the current job that they have for the most part, let alone deploying them in close exposure and highly sensitive situations.
What, you can't, there's not, you can't do law enforcement at the airport?
The reality is this: Democrats don't like ICE, but Democrats don't have the votes. They lost that vote. Maybe they have the votes in November. Maybe they've
That's
got
what
the
they're
votes
trying to hold
2.5
out
years
till.
from now, but they don't at the moment, sir.
Well, that's exactly right. And incoming Secretary Mullen has already indicated a number of things that he's willing to talk to them about regarding ICE operations, many of which they already want.
Negotiating with the Democrats is like negotiating with the Iranian regime. They're just trying to buy time until there's an election and they can regain their power. They say they want to have a deal. They say things are productive. They don't want to give in to any demands. They're just trying to drag things out until November.
But that doesn't appear to be good enough for them. They want it enshrined into law. And in the interim, they're holding the American people hostage, those that are traveling. And let me just say that when you get a 2 or a 3 hour line in a place like Atlanta or any other major airport, that becomes a soft target in and of itself. Those baggage claims and a lot of the places where you see those lines are not secure areas of that airport, meaning anyone from the public can come into those areas.
And there's a massive group of people all standing there with their families. This is a very frightening prospect that he brings up, but he's 100% right. Having massive numbers of people conglomerated in a closed space without there being any security before getting through the checkpoint, that's a disaster in and of itself. Every single person at an airport in this country is at risk because of the political party of open borders.
And so you're creating another security issue there when you have such long lines. And so again, ICE is being surged into there. Making sure that those travelers are safe before they even get into that secure part of the airport.
And as we're talking, as you were talking, Chad, some ICE agents walked right there in front of our cameras.
I think so too.
I think in the end, ICE, because of this, will end up with a higher approval rating from the public, and the Democrats will think, oh gosh, now what have we done again? Want to get you to this other story because this is a tragedy that we want to make sure that we hide.
And that's the last thing the people who are in opposition to law and order want to see happen.
If you are going to expand, is that because of the heightened security threat that we're living in now?
Yeah, there's a conflict.
Yes, we're in a heightened security threat. So yeah, we're working very closely with the FBI, Department of Intelligence, and intelligence communities, looking for those people that enter the country illegally that pose a serious threat to our national security. Look, under the Biden administration, we had over 10 million illegal aliens coming to the border. We know we got 2.1 known gotaways. These are known because they're caught on video, drone traffic, or central traffic. People who entered the country illegally, weren't arrested, weren't vented, weren't fingerprinted. They paid more to the criminal cartels to get away. Now, why did 2.1 million people pay more to get away? Why didn't they pay a lesser fee, turn themselves in at Border Patrol, get released within 24 hours, get a free airline ticket to the city of their choice?
Because then they would have been documented. You see, when we hear about undocumented immigrants, that is not a term that could apply to somebody that checked in with Border Patrol after crossing and was allowed into the country and went to a sanctuary city and got a free hotel room. That person's documented. The undocumented people, the people who escaped and who were never seen again, those are the individuals that could be a serious threat. Apparently, there's 2 million people that meet that description that we know about.
Get a free hotel room, get 3 squares a day, and get work authorization in 3 or 4 months when they play the system, right?
Right.
Why
that
did
person's
2.1 million people pay more not to take advantage of that free giveaway program? We're focusing right now with the intelligence community, the FBI, DOJ, with HSI and ICE, trying to locate these people. And again, it's a lot of work. We've already removed thousands of them, but a lot more we got to find. So yes, a heightened security threat assessment right now.
Why do we want those people at the airport? Why should somebody who paid more to a criminal organization to not have to interact with law enforcement, why should that person have the opportunity to sneak around America and potentially do something at an airport? That is incredibly frightening.
We got to do more of that work, and that's exactly what we're doing, working very closely with the FBI.
All right.
Good.
I want to talk more about the funding negotiations. You're working on these, clearly. We've established that. There are reports that Senate Majority Leader John Thune came to the president yesterday with a deal that would have funded all of DHS except for ICE. The president apparently said no.
Right.
Was that the deal?
Because they're the ones at the airport. They're the only ones left.
I'm not going to get ahead of the president on that. I know there's meetings every day. I'm having meetings today on that exact issue. So I won't get ahead of the president, but there have been several people come with several different agreements. Well, that's the president's decision, and I'm meeting again today with the president and members of the Senate. So look, we're going to keep working. This administration has been pushing pretty hard on getting the government back open. I've been up there almost every day last week.
They want to shut it down, those senators.
What ICE does, what Border Patrol does, and how we do it.
Here's the interesting thing. Trump has tied the reopening of DHS to the SAVE Act. And you know what? He's right. Why should we compromise airport security, which everybody thinks is a winning issue, and ID, which everybody needs to open a bank account, which everybody thinks is a winning issue because you need an ID to drive a car? What's so bad about that? Why is that so outrageous to some of these people that just don't want to see the president win? Is that what it is? Do they just want to see the president fail? Do they want to see him pass nothing? What do you think's going on here? Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.